Welcome everyone to Dark Corners. I'm your host Dark and you can hear it in my voice. Today we're gonna be doing another scary video. I'm reacting to some 1C animated horror stories. Before I start with the first one, creepy deep web horror story animated, make sure you leave a like right now if you want more videos like this. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any, and let's try to hit like 1500 likes today for a part 2. Have y'all ever been on the deep web? I have.
A few years ago while I was in high school, the deep web was becoming very popular.
Same.
I never really got into it until my friend told me about it because he was into that weird stuff.
What's this weird stuff you're talking about? Because that sounds kind of suspect, bro. And if I look at your reaction here, it's not some funny videos you can only find on the deep web. Hey, I'm just saying.
I had nothing to do, so I went onto the browser Tor. I didn't really see much, so I called my friend over so he could help me out.
I've been on the deep web before out of curiosity, and it's actually kind of boring. I guess if you're not a criminal, you're not looking to do some illegal stuff, you're better off finding other people on YouTube that are doing it for you, because they're gonna cut out all the boring parts. Trust me, guys.
We started searching more and more. We saw a lot of drugs and illegal weapons, stuff like that. Then he clicked on a link that was in a chat room, and the link said, "Watch this." As we're sitting there, we're just staring at the screen that went from black to the outside of a building within a few seconds.
Somebody found their house or something?
And out of nowhere, a sticky note that said, "Want to see something cool?" So then I typed, "Yeah, sure." What was weird was the guy wouldn't type. He just showed sticky notes in the camera. And he also never spoke. All of a sudden, the camera started moving toward the building that it was facing. As we're watching him move toward the building, we noticed that the building was in our neighborhood.
Told you guys.
Then he quit moving and put another sticky note that said LOL. That kind of creeped me out. And then the person in
That just kind of creeped you out? I don't want to see what's gonna really creep you out then.
the camera stopped at a padlocked door and then unlocked it and opened it. The camera moved toward the back of this dark room, and there was a dog bowl on the floor. Now at this point, the camera was only facing the dog bowl. A few moments later, whoever the person was that was holding the camera put something in the bowl that looked like just slop. Honestly, it looked
Gross.
like feces. Then you hear another door open and a girl crying in the background, along with a chain dragging. This girl shows up in the camera crying with a chain around her neck. And the guy shoved her face in the bowl and puts a sticky note in front of the camera that said, "Cool, right?" Then the screen goes black. We sat there for about 10 minutes in disbelief, but the stream was still live. Then out of nowhere, the camera was back on, and it was in the corner of my street. Then another sticky note that said, 545 East 99th Street off of St. Clair.
Hey.
That was my address.
Hey.
Then another sticky note that said, "Open the door."
You better not open the door. Call the
We
police.
sat there
911
confused,
emergency,
and out of
urgency.
nowhere, a knock at the door. I grabbed my phone, jumped up, and we both ran to the back door.
I would hate to be that
Then we
friend.
heard a knock at that door right before I grabbed the handle. At that point, we had
Lock it,
someone at
son.
the back door and someone at the front door knocking.
There's a whole
We
gang.
were stuck. Critical thinking wasn't my strength at that
Call the
point.
police.
We ran upstairs, called the cops, and locked ourselves in my room. The cops showed up, but no one was outside. Only items that the cops found were 100 sticky notes, all with my address written on them. I told the cops about the building with the girl, and they found it. The girl was 14 and had been missing for 5 weeks.
Oh, they actually found her? That's pretty good.
We moved out of that house within a week. But I would never visit the deep or the dark web again.
Okay, there's just one thing that's highly unbelievable in this story. So you're telling me this dude had a live stream? He didn't talk, he used sticky notes, but he never wrote on a sticky note that you should leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, like I'm gonna do right now. Guys, if you want to see more stories, make sure you leave a like right now if you haven't already. I'll even wait for you. The next story is called Creepy Man Followed Me Home from Cemetery. I'm guessing this is about the story where a creepy man followed someone at the cemetery. Let's see if I'm right.
One day, when I was in the 6th grade, on a rainy day, I was walking home.
I love Rainy Days, by the way. And this is animated differently. This actually looks cuter, more stylized. I like this animation style.
On my walk, which is about a mile or so long, I had to walk through a cemetery. Not a stereotypical, shabby, haunted one.
Every day?
But one that had many people walking through and was usually full of maintenance employees. I remember walking by a group of them sitting on benches on a break.
Alright, the one on the right, either he's a red herring or he's gonna be the creepy man. Calling it right now.
I thought nothing of it, as he stood up and started walking at a fair distance. After a bit, I looked back at him and he looked down quickly. He was in the same baby blue uniform as the others and had a gray beard.
Wanna bet he actually doesn't work there, he just stole the uniform from someone else? That's what I'm gonna call right now, that's my theory. Let's see if I'm right.
But I made out a name tag.
Frank P.
Frank P. As the other workers faded from sight, he was still behind me. I began to worry. A moment later, he called out, "It's wet, huh?" in a friendly voice. I chuckled politely and agreed.
Creepy.
My worries increased a second later when I walked out and he was still behind me. I was close to my house now and it started to pour. My house in sight, I started jogging to get there. I glanced back and I saw the man, visibly angry, start running. As my house got closer, I began to sprint. I didn't look back as I slung the key out of my backpack and opened the door. I looked behind me. I saw the man in the middle of the street. I walked over to the phone and dialed 911. Before I called, I looked out the window.
He was there?
He was gone.
Too bad.
I told my mom what happened when
Cute
she
mom,
got
though.
home. She didn't believe me.
What?
That
She
night-
didn't believe you? So he told her this whole story. He's like, oh mom, there was this creepy guy. He followed me all the way back home and I ran away and then he looked and then when I called 911, he was gone. She was like,
And I could see occasional shadows from the flashes through my window in my living room. I lay watching the flashes when I saw a strange outline. I looked closer and saw
it's a Roblox character.
outline of a man. I
It's
stood
Baldi.
up and walked out of my room. I walked into the living room. It was completely dark outside.
Yo, Loki, I just
I
noticed. This kid is actually wearing the same clothes as Baldi from Baldi's Basics, that video game. Check it out.
In
Green
the
shirt,
doorway
blue
and
jeans.
waited.
Is this the
car's
origin?
headlight illuminated the pale, shallow face
Baldi's
of Frank
Basics?
P. I ran into my room and locked the door. Never saw him after that night.
Where's his mom?
But whenever I see that baby blue uniform, I think back to that night and that haunting image of a skeletal, unnatural face.
Where's his mom?
Frank P.
Let's keep it going. The final story is called Creepy Abandoned Building Horror Story.
This happened a few weeks ago. I live in California,
Ooh,
and I've
nice.
always been good friends with this kid named Ethan.
Ethan.
We had all the same interests, so we got along great. But that's besides the point.
Ooh, I could use some
There's
crisps
this
right
old
now.
abandoned house a few blocks away that has been vacant for years. I have no idea why it was never fixed and sold. The point is, it's abandoned.
I
All
got
the
that.
neighborhood kids are always telling rumors about the place. And to be honest with you, I never thought they could be true.
You're gonna find out today.
We decided to sneak out at like 1 a.m. to explore the place.
Big mistake. Should have done it 2 hours later. Then you can put 3 a.m. in your title.
We brought along our phones for flashlights and to record. So we rode our bikes down the block and found the house. It was 2 stories high and made of brick with broken
Yo, y'all see
windows.
someone in there? There's like a skeleton and a black cat.
Oddly enough, the back door was unlocked. One of the rumors is that local homeless people, drug addicts, and gang members all hang out here. So the fact that someone seemed to have been here kind of freaked us out.
So why do you go inside then, you idiots?
Inside, it smelled like shit. It was so dark that if it weren't for our flashlights, we definitely wouldn't have been able to see anything. We walked through what appeared to be a kitchen, around through a living room, into a foyer. Just as we were about to go upstairs, there was a sudden, loud thump. Ethan and I both jumped and stood frozen.
Hey, that's what you get.
I think someone's up there.
You
I
think?
whispered to Ethan. Yeah, no kidding. He said back. Let's check it out. Dude, are you fucking crazy? I said. But Ethan either didn't hear or ignored me, as he was already halfway up the stairs.
Stupid.
Holding up my phone to continue recording, I reluctantly followed Ethan down there. We approached the doorway and
There is
glanced through
definitely
to see
someone there.
someone standing by the window. It was so dark, all we could make out was a brown sweater he was wearing. We knew he had to know we were here, because we had already shown the flashlight on him. Ethan began to cautiously walk towards the guy. I stood back by the doorway. Ethan walked up to the guy, strained his body to look at his face, and screamed. He shoved the guy, who fell to the floor, stiff like a statue, and grabbed my shirt collar as he tugged me away from there. I dropped my phone as we nearly trampled each other running down the stairs.
Oh my god, what's it called when you have an animal and the animal passed away, pretty much got killed, and then they put him up with like dermatax or something? You know what I mean? So was that like a dead person but somebody put him up like he was alive? Yo, yeah, guys, teach. I know there's a word for it. It's like dermat something. I'm not even gonna try.
We got on our bikes and pedaled fast as possible back home. Apparently, when Ethan had walked up to the
Taxidermy. That's the word. It's a taxidermied person.
he realized that the man was some sort of taxidermied human,
Yeah, boy!
where his eyes had been taken out. At the same time, he heard a crack in the floorboards from across the room and saw the silhouette of a man huddled in a dark corner watching him.
Dang, son.
We had the nerve to go back to the house a few days later to try and find my phone, but it was gone.
They went back again, like these kids wanna die, they don't wanna grow up. I mean, being an adult isn't that bad. Just a little bit bad.
He didn't dare report it to the police for fear of getting busted for breaking and entering and sneaking out at night. I know, I guess that sounds stupid now.
You think?
Ethan and I are still great friends in high school, and this memory is still one we will never forget for as long as we live.
The way that was narrated at the end, it sounded like it was a great memory, but I'm pretty sure Ethan is traumatized right now, and I would not be surprised if he ends up as a serial killer. All I'm saying. First animation is called I Have Survived Living in a Haunted House. Let's check it out.
A month ago, my girlfriend and I got engaged. We moved into a new apartment and began living together. It was the first time either of us had shared an apartment, so it was a new experience for the both of us. We were deeply in love. I knew she was the one I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, and I thought she felt the same about me.
That's cute.
Everything went well until 2 weeks ago, when I noticed that my girlfriend was acting very strange. She had become so attached to me that it felt like she couldn't stand being away from me for more than a moment. One evening, she said to me, "Darling, when you're not at home, I still feel you're near me."
He smells.
Thought she was just being affectionate. However, a few days later, she told me something else.
Yo, I don't think the creepy part of this video has started yet, but this guy's face is hella creepy.
"Whenever you're at work," she said, "I often hear your voice, as if you were calling my name." This began to happen more and more as the days went by, and I started to get a little worried about her. One day, when I arrived home from work...
The house looks kinda depressing, doesn't it? Not saying I live in a happy house, but this one is missing some color. Look, at least I got the red, I got the blue, I got the gray. Except this isn't blue, this is actually purple. I don't know how I forgot about that, but whatever.
I found her sitting silently at the kitchen table, staring blankly at the wall with a glazed look in her eyes. I grabbed a chair, sat down beside her, and asked her what was the matter. "I think there's something wrong with me," she said. "Why would you think that?" I asked. "I saw you today," she said.
Wait. Let me see if I know the plot twist. Is he actually dead? Is he actually a ghost, but he doesn't realize it yet? Is he Bruce Willis with hair? I'm calling it right now. Let's see if I'm right.
You walked from the kitchen.
By the way, you guys are probably too young to understand the Bruce Willis reference, but just... it's a good reference. Trust me.
"But I was at work all day," I said. "I know. she replied with a sigh. That's when I really began to worry.
Huh.
I suspected that my girlfriend was losing her mind and starting to have
Ugh.
hallucinations.
Why is her face moving like
Over the
that?
next few days, she kept telling me that she saw me in the apartment when I was at work. She could even describe exactly what I was wearing. My girlfriend was also acting more and more strange. She was getting more and more quiet, and she was terrified of being left alone.
Yo, she's creeping me out, I'm not gonna
Sometimes
lie.
she would-
There's something about this animation style that's really creepy.
Last night, my girlfriend was very tired and decided to go to bed early. I held her hand and sat on the edge of the bed as she was falling asleep.
Bro, no wonder you smell. These two have been wearing the same clothes this whole time. She even sleeps in her jeans. That's disgusting. If you sleep in jeans without boiling them, don't talk to me.
Just before she nodded off, she said, "You're not here." "Honey, I'm right here," I replied. "Don't worry, everything is fine."
He's dead, right?
"No, you're not here," she said. "You're in the kitchen." Just then, I heard a dull noise coming from the kitchen. It sounded like a chair scraping across the linoleum. Then, I heard the sound of footsteps walking.
What's a What's a limonium?
Fear gripped my heart, and I didn't know what to do. All of a sudden, the handle on the bedroom door began to turn, and the door slowly began to open.
Uh-oh.
Maybe it's just a draft, I thought as my eyes grew wide with fear.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a draft. The door swung open, and I saw a man standing there in the doorway. It was me. It's difficult to describe exactly what I saw.
You just described it.
It was as if I was staring at myself in a mirror, but the other me had cold, lifeless eyes. The other me looked at me for a moment and then turned and left, shutting the door behind him. It took me a moment to recover from the shock, and then I sprang off the bed and ran after him.
What?
The hallway was empty. I checked the kitchen, then the bathroom, but he was nowhere to be found. The other me simply vanished. It was terrifying. And then, as I stood
Hey, don't worry about it, bro. He was probably more terrified of you than you were of him, because he ran away.
in the hallway, trying to figure out what had just happened, trying to calm myself down and convince myself that it was just a hallucination, I heard a faint voice coming from the kitchen. It wasn't my voice. It was the voice of my girlfriend. "We are here to stay," she said. "Forever." I realized that my girlfriend wasn't in the kitchen. She was lying in the bedroom, exactly where I had just left her seconds before.
Ooh.
I was so frightened, I started trembling like a leaf.
Just leave.
I ran into the bedroom, grabbed my girlfriend, and dragged her with me out the front door. We left in my apartment in that very moment and spent the night in my parents' house.
Okay.
Tomorrow, we will go back to pick up our things.
Really?
I still can't understand what had happened in that apartment, but neither of us can bear to spend another night in there.
So after everything that happened, you're gonna go back to pick up your stuff yourself? Would you go back to pick up your own stuff?
Hopefully, when we pick our things up, all will be well and no one will be there.
Doubt. Ah! I should have expected that. Oh, this video has no jump scares. I should have been smarter than that. This next video is called Gas Station Horror Story Animated. I'm guessing it's about something that happens at the gas station, but that's just my guess. I'm not sure how I got that.
To add a bit of backstory, I was an active duty Marine a year prior to this story happening. Granted, we're trained to take lives and deploy to other countries to fight.
Okay.
Sad to say that I never got the opportunity to deploy, but if I wasn't trained as a Marine, I honestly think I wouldn't be here telling this story. Now, onto this story. This story took place last year on a cool summer night here in Arizona. I just got off from work and took a coworker home from a late night dinner after the shift.
Nice. That's nice
passed
of you.
by a gas station after I dropped her off. I was working 2 jobs at the time, so it was already late, around 2 a.m.
Wow. 2 a.m., bro. That's way too late. You should be like me. Sleep early, wake up early, get some sunlight, vitamin D, all that stuff.
So I was slowly pulling into this empty gas station. I noticed no other cars anywhere.
Because it's
That's
2
when
a.m.
something caught my eye as I was pulling up in front of the entrance. There was a shadowy figure that suddenly pulled up along one of the walls of the gas station and kept creeping along the walls,
my
getting
God.
closer as I pulled up.
It's the hash slinging slasher. Why is he
There
not
was some
driving
sort
away?
of shadowy figure that suddenly pulled up along one of the walls of the gas station. It crept along the walls, getting closer as I pulled up and turned off my
Come
car.
on, bro.
But at the time, I couldn't care less because I was tired and I figured he was just a drunk and about to ask for change or something like that. I saw the outline of his face as he pulled away from the shadows. He opened his mouth to say something, but before he could say anything, I cut him off and said, "Hey, I'll be right back, sir." He just kinda stood there and stared at me as I walked into the gas station. I wasn't even thinking about him because I was tired and just wanted to go home. I swooped up my favorite energy drink and walked up to the cashier.
Okay, so he's not alone. There's an actual cashier. So he should be safe. I mean, if he tries to kill him, he can just use the cashier as distraction. That's what I would do.
I pushed the entrance door open and I noticed that the man was no longer there. I was looking around for the man as I approached my car to only see him coming from the dark corner again. But something seemed off about him this time. I didn't care to stick around to see what was off about him and
Because he seemed completely normal before.
went to open my car door. Then I heard rapid footsteps approach from behind me. I turned around as fast as possible to make eye contact with him. He was just staring at me less than an arm's reach away.
Look at his face, bro. He's like, bruh.
Every option suddenly ran through my head, screaming at me to just get in the damn car and slam the door. But he was already too close for me to try anything without him trying to do something. So I wanted to try and create a peaceful
He probably wants your snack. Just give him that.
conversation as a desperate attempt to try to get this creep away from me. I said, "Oh, hey, it's you again. Is there something I can do for you?" His whisper had a scratchy tone to it as he said, "Gotta need change." I was actually thrilled. I was happy because I could just give this creep some money as a peaceful resolution.
That's one way of getting change. Just creep the hell out of them so they'll give you money just to make you leave.
Hold on, I'll dig it out for you. By the time I grabbed a fistful of change as I leaned into my car, I heard the passenger door behind me open, and then I felt a handful of my hair get pulled into my driver's seat.
Well, that's
My hair
one hell
got
of a
yanked back
sentence.
really hard as he whispered, "You scream or yell and I'll kill you."
Why is he swearing?
Then I felt a knife slowly glide over my throat. He then whispered, "Understand." I carefully nodded up and down. He then replied, "Now we're going to New Mexico. Don't do anything stupid or I'll
Just
cover your
eat the
car's
knife,
interior
bro."
with your blood." At the time I was thinking, this can't be real. So
I know he got a knife to your throat and everything. There's no reason to swear, okay?
That's one thing my commanding officer said in the Corps. The key to victory is a clear conscience and a cool head. So I asked him, "Okay, how are we doing this? You just gonna give me directions?" I then felt his grip on my hair loosen. "Good, smart kid. I hate when they beg me to let them go. Now use your GPS or whatever." His knife was still gently pressed up against 70% or so of my throat. So I told him I was slowly going to reach into my glove compartment for my GPS. Then I asked him where in New Mexico we were going. He laughed and told me to just shut up and drive. Why was he laughing now? This guy was a complete psycho.
You
I
think?
was there driving and praying in my head for a chance to open where I would be able to fight.
Yo, y'all think the cashier in the gas station saw this and he was like, "Looks like you got a problem on your hand, but it ain't mine." The least you could do is get the license plate and call 911. I'd do at least that, the bare minimum.
Tell that his knife was starting to get loose around my neck for every 5 minutes or so that I drove. The knife at the start of this drive was at about 70%, but now it was at around 50%.
Stop with the percentages, bro. I'm bad at
I had
math.
to make a right at the intersection. Finally, I saw an opportunity. I saw this Ford Ranger pickup truck coming down the road I was supposed to join on. In my head, I asked myself, do you really want to die a coward? Then, as I saw the Ford Ranger approach at a rapid rate, I pressed all the way down on the gas pedal. Then, boom. All I remember from all the commotion is the guy leaning back as I slid my hand under his wrist of the hand that was carrying the knife and pinned it against the steering wheel of my car. I can hear the horn blaring, attracting more attention. He let go of the knife and ran out of the car as the intersection made itself known to me again, as my surroundings were no longer blurry. I wanted to run after him, but the driver of the Ford Ranger grabbed me and said, "Hey, what the hell happened? Do you have insurance?" I told the police everything when they arrived. I did everything you're supposed to, but nothing really ever came of it. And they didn't see anyone matching my...
He's still running around as a free man. He could be your neighbor. He could be in your backyard right now. He could be right behind you. No, actually, probably not, because he'd kill you before you finish this video.
Up until a few days ago, I went to a small local gym in my now previous New Jersey town called Black Bear Fitness.
Okay.
One day, I had the misfortune of running into some skinny, awkward, yet creepy looking kid, probably 18 years old.
This dude looks way older than 18. I mean, how old do I look?
I had headphones in and I was doing my set when I heard him saying something to me, but it was muffled by the music.
Oh, that's the
I was
narrator.
already annoyed with this kid, given that he was breaking an unwritten rule of the gym. Don't try to talk to somebody when they're doing their sets.
Yo, this dude only trains his left arm. Y'all see that? Well, he's freaking wearing sandals with socks as well.
Then he started acting like I looked familiar, but right away I knew this kid was just trying some pathetic attempt at making friends. I assured him I didn't, but the kid wouldn't stop talking to me. I'll skip most of the conversation, but eventually he actually asked me for my Instagram and Snapchat, weirdly enough, and for whatever reason I gave them to him. Instead of just saying something like, "Buddy, I'm trying to work out," or "I don't have social media." After I gave him my Snapchat and Instagram, however, I did kind of urge him to let me resume my workout.
Why'd you give him your social media? Why?
That night, I got a snap on my phone saying "from Sean." I immediately sighed and said, "Oh no." Just wondering why the hell the kid would snap me. I opened the snap, and the kid was in a creepy, weird pose, face way too close to the camera, with his head resting in his hand and a half smile on his face. The text over the picture was "Hey."
That's
with
actually
2 Ys.
pretty scary.
I muttered the words, "What the f-?" For the record, I'm a guy, which made this even more weird.
Oh. I was scared to assume that, but thanks for confirming.
My thought process was, I've had enough of this loser already. I'm gonna remove him and make it clear I don't want to talk if I see him at the gym again. And so I did. I removed him minutes after he sent that snap.
Pause! What is that?
What is this dude watching on his TV?
I'm sure not even a minute later, again a message popped up on my phone saying "Snapchat from Sean."
Whoa, somebody just texted me. Okay, that's creepy.
This one was even creepier. Now the kid was sitting up on his bed, no smile, more of a surprised, angry expression. The text over the image said, "Why did you remove me?" Now I went as far as to block him, meaning he couldn't snap me anymore. And that was that. I threw my phone on the desk and sighed out of relief. Half an hour later, my phone goes off, saying Sean added you as a friend, and then Snapchat from Sean. He actually made a new account. I opened the snap and felt my heart drop.
It's his house. It's
It
his
was a
house.
picture of my front lawn. The text over it, "Answer me."
If this happened to you guys, what would you do? I would call the police. I'd call the police. Except that's a lie. That's not what I would do. I would feel too awkward. I'd be like, what if I call the police? And they come all the way over here for misunderstanding. It's gonna be so awkward. I'd rather die.
Then I realized, Snapchat made
Snap
that new
map.
map feature that lets you see where your friends are.
Yo, disable that. I got that disabled. You can see exactly where your buddies are. Snap, map, disable that.
Somehow I had the balls to open the window to see outside. It was clear out there. I shut the window and the blinds and started considering calling 911.
Do it.
It was the sound of taps on the window. I took a deep breath, and with one swift motion, I pulled up the blind and the window at the same time and pulled the kid into my room by his neck. I punched him in the face a few times before he was out cold. Now I called 911. By the time they arrived, he was awake, cursing me out, promising he'd be back and kill me. The cops heard it all. I didn't even have to make a case. The kid was an idiot. Luckily, the timing of this worked out well because I just moved a couple days ago out of state.
What? That's the most anticlimactic ending I've ever seen. He just freaking fools him in. Yeah. Time for the second video. This time a true creepy thunderstorm horror story. I don't know about you guys, but I love me a good thunderstorm, especially if I don't have to go anywhere. Y'all hear that thunder? Ooh, that makes me warm inside.
In the year 2009, I was spending a weekend with my uncle on his ranch when my parents were renovating the new house we had just bought.
Oh, the sound
It was
of
my
rain.
second night there, a Saturday, and it happened to be during one of the biggest thunderstorms of the year. I'd say there were at least 3 crashes of thunder and lightning per minute. And we were in the heart of the storm because the thunder would crash not even a second after the lightning would.
Ooh, that's
I always
scary.
enjoyed listening to storms while laying in bed. So I stayed up a little later watching TV, just enjoying the ambiance. After the movie I was watching,
I love that. What he's doing right now, thunderstorm outside, you can hear the rain smashing on the window, and you're watching a scary movie. Beautiful.
finally ended, I turned off the TV and tried to fall asleep.
Y'all heard that?
As I heard the lightning strike from outside, I could have sworn I heard some kind of metallic thud coming from outside at the same time. I didn't pay it too much mind.
You
20
sure?
seconds later, I could have sworn I heard it again. A very distinct metallic thud coming from outside to match the timing of the lightning. I really don't mean to.
Okay, so someone's hitting something near his house, and whoever is doing that is waiting for the sound of the thunder to mask the sound of him hitting it. Maybe he's trying to break in.
My uncle really is a kind of creepy guy, and I was never close with him even remotely. So for that reason, I didn't feel right going to wake him up. I just tried to forget about it. Now I was getting concerned. What the hell could that be? After the third time, I finally got out of bed and walked over to the window of the guest bedroom. The water pouring down on the window made it extra hard to see what was out there in the dark fields. A flash of lightning momentarily lit up the property, but I couldn't see anything. However, once again, the sound of a metal hit accompanied it. The sound was so close now, it sounded like it was coming from the left of the window at a blind spot.
Oh boy.
I was going to do something I knew my uncle wouldn't be happy about.
Don't go outside.
It would be a bit messy, but I was going to open the window and peer outside to see if I could see what the sound was. I unhooked the window lock and slid it up, and immediately the wind of the storm blew drops of rain into the room and onto me. I stuck my head out the window and looked to the left, and at that very moment, lightning lit up the property once again, and I could see a person dressed in all black crouched down by the outside basement door with his hand raised in the air. And before the sky went dark, I caught the briefest glimpse of what the sound was coming from. The person was bashing at the basement door lock. I pulled my head in and quietly shut the window, making sure to lock it.
Smart.
I was in a panic.
Wake your uncle. Your uncle probably has a
I feared he
rifle.
might have seen or heard me. I ran back to bed and pretended to be asleep.
What? What? Are you stupid or something? Go to sleep when you're hungry. Don't go to sleep when somebody's trying to break into your freaking house.
I just stayed put in bed for the longest time, hoping whoever was out there would go away. After maybe 3 more lightning crashes without any thuds accompanying them, I thought it would be safe to go tell my uncle. I turned to face the window and screamed. There was a figure, clear as day, standing at the window, looking in at me. I screamed as loud as I could and ran
How though?
straight to my uncle's room.
Wasn't he on the 2nd floor? How did the guy get near the window? Is it a ghost? Huh?
He went outside with his hunting rifle with nothing on but his pajamas, not even socks. He ran around the entire property yelling like a madman, but didn't find anyone. The next morning, we were able to better see the marks on the basement door lock. It was almost bashed open. Maybe 3 or 4 more good hits would have done it, according to my uncle. He was proud of me for picking up on it. Luckily, I was out of there that same day.
And he never saw his uncle again.
I'm grateful I stayed up a little later that night watching that movie, because I may have just stopped a robbery, or possibly much worse.
See guys, don't go to sleep early, stay up all night. It might save your life. I've been reading your comments and you guys seem to enjoy the scary videos, so I'll try to make as many of those as possible. Let me know in the comments section which other suggestions you guys have. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more. Hopefully until next time. Now check out my other videos. Dark, signing out.